Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Blossom here once again and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of the Mega Man Marathon set of Let's Plays. And speaking of such, today, welcome back for more Let's Play of Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation 1/Sega Saturn. So last time we actually did manage to tackle through the mid stage of the forms of Mega Man 8, and also we did manage to fight against with the forms of this mysterious robot known as Duo. And in addition to that though, we also managed to tackle through Astro Man, Aquaman stage, and Swordman stage, and Surgeman stage. So today for this episode folks, is going to be a huge episode for this particular finale portion of Mega Man 8, and that we're going to be tackling through by the forms of Dr. Wily's Castle number 8. Or for this matter, Dr. Wily's Tower, because as you can see, that we're going to be climbing up to this vertical shaft to be able to actually go all the way up to the top of this tower. So yeah, we're about to get things started right there. So here we go with Dr. Wily stage number 1. Easily by far the worst stage if any of the Dr. Wily stages for this entirety of the Mega Man series, because you know these hoverboard section, or the section rather, usually takes place somewhat after the events of Frostman stage. Well, it's now returning, but to make matters even much more worse than that is the fact that it just gets a lot more difficult. And in addition to that, it goes ridiculously fast. And in addition to that, these enemies placed all over the place. And sometimes, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm pretty sure I swear I managed to hit the jump button, but then next thing notice that Mega Man decides to actually just manage to drop like a blue dope, which even then though, that just usually happens in my parts. Even then though, easily one of the harder sections in the forms of Mega Man 8 sometimes, because I swear to God, I swear I hit the jump button, but then it just never seemed to work on me, which even then though, that can usually get a little bit more hectic, or especially noticeable, it gets a tad bit more worse. But even then though, as long as you're able to actually bypass this part completely, then we're pretty much going to be moving on to this next part. So, thank God that's over. Well, nothing matters anyway though, because much like how it does in the forms of Mega Man 7, that Wily's Castle, or in this case Dr. Wily's Castle, or the Tower rather, is not much of a goblin, because even then, much like how it does in Mega Man 7, that every time you actually complete one of those stages, you take you back into the forms of a stage selection, which even then though, that sounds good indeed, which even then though, that could be some pleasant surprise. So, anyways though, and also in addition to that though, that there's going to be some occasional annoying enemy placements every once in a while, but apart from that though, there should be not much to discuss. So this is why you need to get yourselves your thunder grip right here, until you're able to actually do a little bit of a swinging rope action here. And because of that though, it's mandatory if we want to able to actually reach at the very end of the forms of Dr. Wily Castle stage 1. So even though we pretty much at the very end of a level already. So actually, before I get into that, I need to go ahead and use my Mega Ball, so that way I can just perform a double jump, and boom, we got another extra 1-up. So that way, my lives count is now up to 7, so should be worth noting for, or for this matter, just only 8, because again, if your extra 1-ups manage able to, if it says like 0, you're basically still got 1 chance left, so even then, no, that should be not much to discuss. So here we go folks, on to possibly one of my least favorite boss in the entirety of Mega Man 8, and that we have to deal with the forms of this particular robot right there, even though I don't know exactly what this robot is called. And by the way, this is the best rush item without doubt, because even then, not only does it actually give you something like, almost like a weapon energy refueled, but also it gives you a whole bunch of health, because again, Mega Man 8 has no energy tanks, none whatsoever, which even then though, that could be a little bit more frustrating in some scenarios, because even then, if you're more used to with the forms of having yourselves your energy tanks to your disposal, then well, at least ever since in Mega Man 7, that you were expected to be able to actually make these boss fights a little bit more comfortable throughout. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. So even then though, unless if you ever played this ROM hack of the forms of Mega Man 8, but the forms of Mega Man 8 8-bit, which behaves exactly like how it does it for not only for Mega Man 8 in terms of the same structure, but also by the forms of how the fact that in the 8-bit rendition of Mega Man 8, managed to able to claim the energy tanks, which I really do appreciate it, and there goes my first death of Mega Man 8. It's always at the very end of the game, every time I always died on that specific section. Oh well, no big deal, because even then, differently than the likes of how it does in any other Mega Man game, your weapon energy, especially your life energy, is completely refilled. Every time you die, or even get a game over, sure, it should be very generous at times. So even then though, that could be a lot more easier as it should be. So, yeah, there's quite a few things I just want to mention about this when it comes to, news updates and everything like that. So today was actually forms of the 18th of August during the likes of in 2018. So naturally, we've only got ourselves about, like, let's just say 13 more days to go until the forms of the actual Mega Man Marathon is about to be over. Well, it all depends on though, really, because as you can see on the actual, how long this video is going to be, this is by far the longest part on any other Mega Man Marathon we're going to be doing for it so far. Because not only because of Wily's Tower is going to be a much more of a, somewhat almost like a marathon of almost, but even then though, because there's going to be a lot of cutscenes to be able to watch, well, there are some little bit of, some scenes to watch, but even then though, that could be some emphasis that usually involves around one of the longest, games in the entirety of the Mega Man series, as far as bar none. Well, at least if you want to count for the forms of Mega Man and Base for the Super Famicom / Super Nintendo, or even the Game Boy Advance version as a result. But anyways, for this boss fight right here, it's all about luck-based factor, because even then, all you have to do to be able to actually deal an amount of damage with this particular robot, and basically, all you have to use is basically you need to use the Mega Ball, because that way it'll do the amount of damage. But even then, it's all about timing and accuracy, especially with the angle shots you're gonna have to be able to put up with. And as a result, if you manage to miss any of your shots, then guess what? You might as well able to get screwed over. So, but it doesn't matter though, because every time you die, as I mentioned earlier, your weapon energy will be refilled every time you die. So even then, that is very good all in all, especially how the fact that this game will actually be a little bit easier than the other games, but I'm certainly concerned how the fact that I will still say that Mega Man 7 is easily one of the easiest Mega Man games I've played so far, alongside with Mega Man 6 for the NES, because it has some really awesome additions, but the forms of the actual power adapter and the jet adapter from Mega Man 6, and the forms of the super adapter from Mega Man 7. So, at least I found these two games to be a lot easier than it should have. So, and especially noticeable with the Rush Jet itself, but the forms of in Mega Man 3, which even though that could be a very pleasant surprise all in all. So here we go, folks, on to, well, Dr. Wily Stage 2, which even then, though, we might actually come towards the forms of, well, these enemies, whatever they're trying to crawl into the wall, I always find these guys to be a little bit of a pain to deal with sometimes, because no matter what, though, I swear to God, I was trying to dodge those projectiles, but then all of a sudden, I just keep on getting hit by these guys a lot. So anyways, though, much like the Tango Man stage, we have ourselves another on-rails shooting segments. Even then, though, that as you expected, that I suggest you actually bring out Otto with you, especially noticeable with the let's just say Eddie, much like how it does in Tango Man stage, because, well, obviously, if you manage to able to pick up, got Eddie right there, and there's actually this one partner I actually did manage to left out, and that will have to be the forms of Beat the Bird, which, speaking of such, hopefully we might be able to come towards that as soon as we get to another party ball, at least as far as we can able to actually just find one after dealing with all kinds of enemies. And speaking of Beat the Bird, there he is. So yeah, he behaves almost exactly somewhat similar to how it does it from before, from the likes of in Mega Man 5, or in this case 6, or I don't know. All he does is just fly around, and that's all he really does. Well, he occasionally home into anything, which I think that could be kind of helpful at points, but even then, though, that I wasn't really doing very well when it comes to able to actually discussing on descriptions of every single companions with you, because I don't know what it is, because again, it's actually the first time I've ever going to be playing Mega Man 8. So in this part right there, you have to be very quick right there, because if you do not make it in nick of time, then next thing you notice is that if you ever think about somewhat similar to how it does in Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Mega Drive, that the level called Welcome to the Machine, that you need to able to actually be fast in that part, because if you do not make it, you're pretty much gonna get crushed and die, so you have to like stay sharp on that one. So, and I believe that way we actually ended up in the next boss in the game. So, yep, there it is, because of the actual boss gauge shown up. And in here, it appears to be somewhat of a weird airship-looking contraption, and his weakness, it might be actually be something to do with the forms of the Astro Crash, but we have to wait for it for a little bit, because as soon as you're able to actually summon those weak spots, it's your chance to able to attack him. See, Veneno, that's all you have to do with this particular boss. See, Veneno, it might be very easy at some point, especially with the companions with you, like the forms of Otto and especially Eddie and Beat the Bird. But even then, that could really deal so much damage, especially with the Astro Crash. So even then, that's a very easy boss fight altogether. Certainly a lot more easier than the likes of the first boss you encountered in the forms of the Dr. Wily's Castle 8. But even then, that could be something else. So anyways, he's almost down, so even then, I might as well save the Astro, one last usage of the forms of the Astro Crash until when we get to this last hit. And boom, he's down. Yeah, it's very easy as far as the actual boss fight goes. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all with that particular level itself. So, now we move on to stage number 3. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and save my game real quickly. And it's a good thing that I've managed to able to actually buy the Super Recovery and the Climb Ladders faster, because normally in some situations, whenever you're trying to come towards the forms of the enemies themselves, whenever there's like some ladders you have to climb through, well, that might be a good ability to able to actually just accept it. So, in addition to the, the barrier to able, all these super shields, to able to actually, like, disables the knockback occurrence, which I'm very helpful for that anyway, because even then, that ability is super useful. Especially if you're having a hard time with platforming segments like this. I do know there's another ability I can able to actually just buy with all these balls I can get. But honestly, folks, I just want to able to actually move on to the next game in the franchise, which, sure, it might be a little bit more of a tangent right there, but that's just how I think it is. So, here we go, on to Dr. Wily's Tower, in this case, Dr. Wily's Castle, Stage 3, and, oh, sweet. Now I need to get my health pickups, even then, though, because I just keep on getting hit by these enemies sometimes. But anyways. So yeah, a few things I want to explain about this actually, when it comes to news and updates and all that stuff. First of all, that the Team Sonic Racing for pretty much every single platforms, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch, and PC's Steam version as a result of that too, recently they managed to bring out 3 more new playable characters to the lineup, which are Silver the Hedgehog, Blaze the Cat, and Vector the Crocodile. Seems an odd choice admittedly, because even then, it almost feels kind of similar to the likes of how it does it in Sonic Free Riders, how the fact that Vector the Crocodile usually joins into the forms of Team Rose in Sonic Free Riders, but apparently now that Vector the Crocodile is apparently joined in with Blaze and Silver. But I don't know what team they're going to be bringing us into. But I'm sure enough, I was really hoping that Espio the Chameleon might actually make its appearance in the forms of the actual playable debut in Team Sonic Racing. But again, we have no sign of the forms of the actual release date about it yet. So we'll discuss more on that later. But for now, here we go on to this particular boss fight. Mega Man. You can't escape this time. Base, stop it. I don't want to fight with you. You're so naive. That will be your downfall. I am not the same weakening anymore. I've got new powers. What kind of new powers do you have this time? No way! An evil energy? Seriously? How did you get that? No. You don't know how dangerous it is. Shut up. I'll defeat you. Come on, Treble.
Come on, Treble.
So yeah, if you remember from Mega Man 7 that normally we actually did face off against with both Bass and Treble, so let's do it. I'll show you what true power is. Oh, do you really think about that? No, that's not power. I must prove you are wrong, base. Again, base. So here we go, folks. Here's the actual mini-boss in the forms of Dr. Wily Stage 3. In that way, we can actually face off against with the forms of Bass and Treble. Which, just like how it does in the forms of Mega Man 7, behaves exactly like how it does it previously, except the difficulty in this boss fight, sorry for a little bit of attentions right there, I do apologize for that, it's gone a little bit more downgraded. See, Fernando, because we don't usually just manage to use the super adapter, as far as you've already noticed something like that, and the pattern is all just rams and repeats, so he constantly shoots his, you know, the actual Mega Buster or something like that. And even, he occasionally just does that, which I swear to God, is really hard to dodge sometimes. But even then, I got very lucky of my attempts for able to actually fight against with Bass and Treble. But even then, I believe this might actually be the final time we're going to be fighting against with Bass and Treble, because until we get to the future games in the series, most notably by the forms of Mega Man and Bass, that way we can actually finally play as him. And eventually enjoying the likes of how he does it, well, he did make his cameo appearances in the forms of in Mega Man 9, but enjoying the likes of in Mega Man 10, unless if you have yourselves a PlayStation Network account, and even Xbox Live Arcade account, although not the Wii Shop channel though, sadly, because, you know, the Wii Shop channel is now dead. So even then, you can no longer get Bass in Mega Man 10 from the WiiWare version, so there you goes. You can't beat me with fake power. Wake up, Bass. Curse you, Mega Man. I'll never give up. Bass? Why don't you understand? Jeez, he's not very paying attention to what Mega Man is trying to tell you to. But anyways, folks, yeah, it looks like we're at the halfway point in Stage 3. And you can definitely see why that my video length has actually gone really ridiculously long compared to how it does in any other Mega Man games in the series as far as this is concerned. Because as far as when oh yeah, I need to get that health pick up immediately because I don't want to die by these all kinds of enemies I need to deal with here. And for the most part, I'm really looking forward to see how Blaze the Cat now finally makes her debut for the actual car vehicle that she's going to be riding into. Although I'm sure enough though, I was really hoping that they're going to be bringing us into the forms of individual team racing rather than just a team racing aspect, which I don't mind about it in the forms of the Mario Kart game, but I just don't know, I feel a little bit mixed bag of that game so far. But I'm sure enough I'm actually able to still make the improvements until it gets to a later time. Even though that could be something else. So there's a extra life right there. If you want to able to get that, then by all means give it a go. And another thing I want to talk about this actually is the fact that I have some pretty terrible news about the forms of the Spyro United trilogy so far. Unfortunately though, that game is going to be delayed until when it gets to November 13th, 2018. I'm okay with that delay. It's most likely because of how the fact that, well, first of all, a lot of people seem to actually complain about the fact that the both Spyro 2 and Spyro 3 may actually requires a downloadable content, which, or in this case, requires a download internet, which can be bugs me the most because I was really looking forward to able to actually playing these three games again onto the actual one disc, which I'm very looking forward to that, but unfortunately it's got screwed over due to that decision. I'm hoping that actually changes that until when it gets to the actual November's release date for Spyro United Trilogy for the PlayStation 4. Even then, I'm really looking forward to that still, but even then, it's definitely worth a wait. And second of all, it's the fact that I think the reason why they're trying to make it delayed until November this year because of the release date of the celebration of the forms of the 20th anniversary of the forms of Spyro the Dragon's release date. Most notably, the first game in the series. So, anyways, enough about that. So here we go with the next boss in the forms of Mega Man 8. Here we have the Green Devil. So, it's kind of like how it does in the Yellow Devil from the previous Mega Man games, although, except it's way more easier than the likes of how it does in Yellow Devil compared to how it does it in Mega Man 1, and especially noticeable when it's like somewhat a bit difficult than comparison to how it does it in Yellow Devil Mark II from Mega Man 3, but even then that's just how I think it is, and I say Mark II from Mega Man 3 for Yellow Devil because, well, according to the Wikipedia, if you want to look that up, then you should probably understand what I was trying to say here. But even then, though, aside from that, though, Green Devil is nothing more of a challenge to me, though. Sure, I might get hit occasionally every once in a while, but that's just how for my skills department as far as this war goes. But even then, though, that always do. I think the actual, Flash Bomb might actually be very, very helpful in this boss fight, because even then, though, not only because of how the way you can able to actually just, get his weak spot going, but also he managed to able to actually deal an insane amount of damage to the forms of the Green Devil, which that could be something is worth mentioning for that. So, of course, you have to watch out for the forms of that specific tidal wave of any sort with the Green Devil slime, and even then, though, that's just something else for this matter. So, yeah, there's not much to discuss about this Green Devil, honestly. It's just pretty much a pretty easy version of the forms of the Yellow Devil from, you know, Mega Man 1 and Mark 2 from Mega Man 3. But, you know, to get the drill here, and also he does the exact same abilities of how it does it in Yellow Devil, so to speak. But even then, the only difference is the fact that it just moves much slower than the likes of how it does in the forms of Mega Man 1, thank God. Because there was no way I can able to actually beat the likes out of the Yellow Devil back in the first game, which I can appreciate of how a lot of people seem to get a lot frustrated with the forms of the Yellow Devil boss fight back in the first game, but still. So anyways, it can cover so much more editable hits, especially noticeable with the forms. If you want to able to actually get his weak spots going, then you could pretty much guarantee you can able to actually use the Flash Bomb immediately. So even then, though, honestly, of all the weapons I can able to actually use in Mega Man 8, I think I'll use Flash Bomb a bit more, just because of how the fact that with the massive explosion effect. In addition to that, though, it can manage to able to deal with the mini-bosses so easily like this. Well, some exceptions, mind you, because, you know, some of these weaknesses is fully combined, but I'm sure I can able to actually just manage to get adjusted of it. So, anyways, just go ahead and just, oh, so close to finish him off. Hopefully I might as well able to actually finish him up in some occasional moments, so it's kind of weird, though, that he actually did manage to pop into, the actual, drainage, little fences there, so. Oh, why did I get hit right there? That's just plain unfair. But even then, though, I'm still pretty much a delta for anyway. Sure, his defense or the attack radius every time you get hit by the Green Devil is not as ridiculously high compared to how it does it in the Yellow Devil, thank goodness for that. But even then, though, that could be something else. So, anyways. Oh yeah, you have to watch out for this, because, yeah, you know, you might as well get hit a lot. So, I almost gonna die right there. But, at least, he only got about a little bit of health left. And I'm sure enough that we can able to actually finish him off in time. So, hopefully it might as well be the case. And, booyah! Green Devil has now been destroyed. With all kinds of goop. So yeah, we're not gonna see him until when we get to the next installment of the Mega Man game, but in forms of Mega Man and Bass. You know exactly what I'm talking about here, so spoiler alert for that actual, for those who haven't, seen any of these Mega Man Let's Plays out of it so far, but still, I can't deny by that. So, here we go, folks, on to the forms of the final stage in the forms of Mega Man 8, and also by the forms of the actual Wily's Tower, or in this case, Dr. Wily's Castle number 8. So, as you may expect it from any other Mega Man game, we actually come towards the forms of the boss rush. So, yeah, we might as well get started right there by the forms of the Frostman first, because I feel like I might as well do that. Sometimes any robot masters say something differently every time you actually get to them.
I'll crush you. I'll make a popsicle of you.
I don't understand what you're trying to say here. Although this was back in the late 90s, so even then, though, their voice clips wasn't exactly clear for the most part, so, again, that was back in the 90s, so, again, Flash Bomb might deal a massive amount of damage on Frostman, so if you know what you're doing, then you were able to kick his butt in no time. So there he goes. It looks very big, though, especially compared to any other robot masters in the forms of Mega Man 8 itself. So, anyways, now we're moving on to the next robot master we have is Grenade Man. Obviously, you do need to bring out the forms of the actual Thunder Whip, so even then, that way we can able to actually deal the amount of damage on Grenade Man. So, the best strategy for that is just, you know, whenever he just moves all over the place, and then, luckily though, the invincibility frames manage to help you out in the forms of certain battles like this, which I'm very grateful about that. But anyways, he's pretty much down, once and for all, so, yeah, that's all that usually matters. Alright, next we're gonna be hitting to is, I think I'm actually gonna have to switch over to Tornado Holes, because now there's actually this weakness I've finally managed to realize about the Clown Man, boss fight right here.
Weakling, this isn't a joking matter.
So that way, his weakness is the forms of Tornado Holes. If you manage to use that on that specific right moment, as soon as you're able to actually just manage to start swinging, that way you can able to actually distract him for a few seconds, and then that way it'll do a certain amount of damage. See, Fernando, as soon as he gets tangled up, then that way you can able to actually do an amount of damage on him. So, with his Mega Buster in itself. So, this could be a very great weapon if you manage to able to use that well enough, but honestly, I rarely use the actual weapons, or other than just Flash Bomb in general, because even then, alongside with the rush abilities, the only rush ability I really tend to use though, most likely, is the forms of the Rush Eddy, because, or the Rush Ed, or the, you know, Rush Heal, as far as you want to, whatever you're trying to prefer calling it that. But, I just realized about something, I never seem to actually use any of those rush abilities, like the Rush Spike, or the Rush Question, or just whatever the fourth one that is, I was going to be thinking of, but it's just that it's been a long while since I actually just managed to play some Mega Man games until at this point in time. Anyways, now we move on to Swordman. Okay then, so again, obviously the water balloon can deal an amount of damage on the forms of Swordman, but obviously you do need to aim its head, because even then though it deals so much damage. So, that's all that really matters for the most part though, when it comes to news and updates and all that stuff. As far as I've noticed something, strangely, is the fact that I've heard in some rumors they try to be able to actually making another port to the forms of the Wii U game, by the forms of New Super Mario Bros. U, and then they're just trying to make it coming onto the Nintendo Switch, which I don't know if that's gonna happen though, because, well, that game utilizes the Wii U gamepad for most likely, because of the actual Wii U gamepad's capabilities. Back in during the likes of in 2012, that you can simply just manage to create those platforms and all that stuff. I don't know if that's gonna happen though, because or it just makes it a little bit more weird to be able to actually port the game onto the Nintendo Switch. That way that I don't know about that, but even then I'm presuming it might be fake. But even then we'll see what happens for that time period. But if it does make its existence, they'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I was wrong. So anyways, you know the drill, Aquaman's weakness is the forms of Asteroid Crash, so yep, that should be a matter of a doubt. So boom, he's toasted. And yes, every time you destroy any of those robot masters, then you pretty much get yourselves your health back, so not much else to discuss. So let's switch over to the Flame Sword. So that way we can able to deal with the amount of damage on the forms of Surge Man, so there will be not much to discuss there.
Begin mission. Yes, sir.
One thing I forgot to mention about this and during the likes of the last video is the fact that if you manage to able to play through the Surge Man stage, if you ever play this game on the Sega Saturn version, you can actually have a fight against with the forms of Woodman from Mega Man 2, which is kind of interesting because even then, because of how the fact that, you know back in the forms of the Robot Museum from the likes of Mega Man 7, that one of those plastic or these glass containers has been smashed apart, and one of those two Robot Masters has been escaped by the forms of the actual Robot Museum, which are consistently both Cutman and Woodman, and only it makes an appearance in the Sega Saturn version of the game. Only for Japan and North America only, because even then, I just don't understand how the fact that why the European version does not get the Saturn version of Mega Man 8, sadly. I don't know what it is though, let me know in the comments below how the fact that how that's not been released. So now we finally got ourselves our weakness to the forms of Astro Man, and now we have to be the forms of the homing sniper, but unfortunately I've managed to waste it all because I was really hoping I can able to actually deal so much damage on the forms of Astro Man, which again, that's his weakness. But for some reason I just managed to able to actually just manage to waste it all way too fast. But oh well, nothing matters anyway though, because even then I still managed to able to use the actual you know, this particular flash bomb for able to deal so much damage, assuming that because of the actual explosion effect can do so much. So as long as I can able to actually use that ability, then he's pretty much down. But there we go then. And we get ourselves a health pickup every time, you know. Alright, I think I should probably save Tango Man for last, just because I found Tango Man to be a lot more difficult in my opinion, just because, well, he flies all over the place, and second of all, it's kind of hard to able to actually just time with the actual weapon itself by the forms of the actual Ice Wave ability. And then I swear I was trying to hit that Tango Man, but then sometimes my shots can get really screwed over sometimes. I think that's what that is. So. But obviously, you can, like, just stun him. Oh, yeah, that particular attack right there almost feels very similar to the meteor attack from, if you ever guys played Dragon Ball GT Final Bout for the PlayStation 1, the terrible, awful fighting game compared to the future Dragon Ball Z games in the series. Sometimes the meteor attack can able to actually just outright hurt you and stuff like that. And even, especially noticeable with the old-school Dragon Ball Z fighting games, if you've played those before, it also has a meteor attack that, it can actually just strike you and then just manage to hurt you for, like, so much. So, anyways, there's not much else to say, so, come on, I've almost gonna hit him. In fact, I've almost gonna be wasting all of my ice abilities. Oh, this is my chance. Come on, deal so much damage. And I was so close. Alright, let's see if I can... No. Okay. Ah, shoot. Ah, screw you, Tango Man. Oh well, we'll try that again. It's actually my second death so far. Well, it's okay though, because even then, my energy's been fully revealed. So even then though, that, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore, so... Yeah, we'll, try this again, so... Seriously, I found this guy to be a little bit more difficult in my opinion, just because he just moves way too fast. And plus, it's so... you need to be accurate with the forms of trying to able to use the Ice Wave at the right time. That way you can able to actually deal so much damage in the forms of Tango Man, unless if you get stuck. Which, even then, that could deal so much of it, so... Oh, jeez. And yeah, you can't afford to able to fall down to the bottomless pit either, because even then, just like Cloudman stage, if you do fall off, on the other hand, well, you have to restart the whole fight again, so... It's so hard to tell, also, what the actual dialogue he's gonna be saying, because all he does, he just constantly just keep on doing that most of the time, and I found this to be a little bit more accurate sometimes, but there he goes. Whew. That's the hardest robot master out of the way. And, just like before, if you manage to defeat all 8 robot masters, just as you expected, we're gonna be doing with the actual final battle in the game. So, as you might expect it's gonna be Dr. Wily himself. So, yeah. Before we do anything, let's see what it does contains in the party ball, which appears to be an energy, a weapon energy refueler. So, hopefully it should be a little bit more doubtful anyway. And we have to equip ourselves the, flash bomb for the first part. Where's this? Wahahaha! You're trapped, Mega Man. You can't move, can you? With this incredible energy, I can't be beaten. It's time I finally finish you off. Goodbye, Mega Man. Duo! Duo, thank you. Are you okay? Yeah. Look out. Curse you! It seems that robots can't move anymore. Ha 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 ha. Now I'll defeat you, both of you. I'll take care of this robot. Proto Man, thanks. Wily, you must be stopped. For the 8th time in a row. Silence, fool! I'll defeat you and conquer the world. So here we go, folks. Here we go onto the true final boss in Mega Man 8. He appears to be Dr. Wily Capsule number, or in this case, Dr. Wily's machine number 8. So that was 8 machines in a row. So all you have to do is basically, I highly suggest you're able to actually go ahead and just use the flash bomb, because it'll do so much damage on the forms of the actual glass container itself. And that way you should probably aim it onto its eye, just like how it does in the forms of Wily Machine 7 in Mega Man 7. So, The only annoying part about this particular final boss, though, I will admit though right away, is that this particular Saw Blade attack always gives me a hard time for this boss. I don't know what it is though. Is it because of how the fact that it's so hard to predict sometimes? Or maybe it's probably because you do need to actually keep an eye out with the forms of that particular laser attack. And then once you're able to deal enough hits on him, then you would able to actually move on to the final phase of the fight. Which, unfortunately, that might not be the case though, because as you can see, I've almost going to be draining my health for quite significant. But I'm hoping I can able to actually survive for this part right there. And boom, he's pretty much down for the most part. But if you think this boss fight was actually over, well, turns out this wasn't the final form. So yeah, here we go, onto the true final boss. Well, the proper time this time, we have, as you expected, Wily Capsule. So, but the only difference is here is the fact that, well, one thing is kind of annoying though with this particular final boss itself is the fact that, well, again, this game does not have energy tanks whatsoever, so we have to deal with this within just one shot only. So, and as a result, it's going to be a lot of trial and error moments like this, especially with the forms of these energy balls coming right at you. So, yeah, that can get pretty annoying, especially with this pattern right there. It almost feels very similar to the likes of how it does in Mega Man 7's pattern. But, still, I just really can't accept it for this factor. Well, you know, because Wily Capsule is challenging, especially with the forms of Wily Machine 8, it's challenging enough, if only because you don't have energy tanks. Well, unless if you actually use the rush heal, if you manage to use that at the right time. But still, I can't really deny about this little situation will go. But, oh great, I'm gonna be dying a lot, aren't I? Or managed to get hit quite a lot, didn't I? Although, the only stingy about the forms of the actual rush items is that you can only use that once per life. Well, it doesn't matter though, because even then though that, well, again, if you manage to accidentally die on this particular boss fight, well, then your energy itself will get revealed, so I think I might as well take a death from that any point second now. Yep, I did die there. So, yeah, just like how it does in the forms of how it does in Mega Man 7, every time you die on this part, you have to do the entire boss fight all over again. Or in this case, you have to deal with Wily Machine 8 all over again. So, that can get pretty irritating at times, but I'm pretty much going to be okay with that. So, plus this boss fight wasn't going to be nearly as long though, I should hope so. So, but again, it's really ridiculously challenging if only because of you don't have energy tanks at your disposal. Unless if you ever played this game on the 8-bit rendition on the PC gaming, then you would expect that you would able to actually use the energy tanks as much as often. But I can't stress that enough. But don't worry, when we get to Mega Man 9, and especially noticeable in Mega Man 10, that the energy tanks will make its return. Well, until Mega Man and Base first, which, to be honest, I might actually not look. I think Buttercup will actually be not looking forward until when she ever gets into Mega Man and Base, because, well, I'm sure she'll be able to actually explain more in that game once she's able to actually get to that certain point. So, anyways, so now we take care of the forms of Wily Machine 8, and now we're gonna have to deal with the second attempt on Wily Capsule. So, hopefully I won't be down this time, Dr. Wily, but even then though, hopefully that should be doubtful anyway. So, I can assuming that Wily Capsule's only weakness is the forms of Mega Buster if you manage to use that at the right point. So thankfully though, we don't have to use the forms of that specific Wild Coil from Mega Man 7. So, but even then though, that, much like how it does in the forms of Mega Man 7's Wily Capsule, he constantly teleports all over the place, and sometimes he sends out these energy balls at you. And I think it's about time for me to be able to actually use the Rush healing item. So, on to you, Rush! Please give me some good health pickups, and I think that will be very good. So naturally, I've managed to get back on track, and I'm hoping I can able to actually finish him off in due time. So that should be worth a while. And yeah, just gotta have to watch out for these all kinds of energy projectiles thrown at you. So yeah, but I do apologize if my dialogue is going really corny today. That's only because of how the fact that I was going really thirsty today, so I haven't had any of the drinks whatsoever, so I do apologize for that. So anyways though, as soon as you're able to actually deal with enough Mega Buster hits on him, then you would able to deal a little bit of damage there. But even then though, you can pretty much get appreciate of how the fact that this will go. So anyways, let's go ahead and just keep on shooting him. And hopefully we should be able to actually get him down no problem. At least it all depends on the actual skill shots and stuff. And hopefully it should be down at any point. Yeah, every time when you're trying to hit Dr. Wily's capsule, sometimes how the fact of the matter is, though, that it just sends out all kinds of different patterns of the forms of the actual energy balls themselves. What is up with the forms of Dr. Wily's machines nowadays is that they're always trying to attempt to be able to deal with a lot of energy balls to deal with, even compared to the first game. So, anyways, there he goes. Now he's been destroyed, and will we be able to give a forgiveness again? We'll see what happens. Sorry, I was wrong. Please forgive me. For the 8th time in a row. That's the same old apology, Wily, over and over again from the past few years. What? What? And we have a cutscene.
This is not good. He's been affected by the evil energy. He will die soon. If your mind is not completely taken by the evil, you'll be saved. Mega Man, I can see into your mind. You have been working so hard for justice. With your help, this planet will survive.
What happened, Mega Man?
He's going to be okay. He will regain consciousness soon. My job is done. I must go. I'll leave Mega Man up to you. But there's one more thing. I have a favor to ask.
Wake up! Wake up, Mega Man! Roll! Mega Man, you're okay!
Alright!
Am I alive?
Yes, you are. Duo saved you.
Duo.
Duo is gone.
Proto Man.
Mega Man, I have a message to give you from Duo.
From Duo? What is it?
He said, thank you.
Duo? Me too. Thank you, Duo.
So yeah, there goes Duo right here. And yeah, that's the actual game, folks. That was it for Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation / Sega Saturn. You know, after I think about it, after we actually did manage to play through 7 games of the actual main classic Mega Man series, compared to these 7 games, even compared to this one, it seems kind of lacking to me though. I mean, don't get me wrong though, Mega Man 8 sure looks and sounds like more likely a representative for the actual 10th anniversary in the series of Mega Man, but in terms of gameplay, it just feels a bit off to me and somewhat a little bit lacking to me. Although perhaps it's because of the actual limited access of rush abilities, or maybe it's just the most uninspired bosses, or mini-bosses for this matter, or maybe it's probably because I just feel a little bit more, well, after I finally beat the game and first time playing the game, I cannot but notice how different this game almost felt like it. Sure, the production values, especially noticeable with the forms of the actual presentation, looks a little bit more top-notch because it's on the CD technology at the time. Especially noticeable how the fact that the animation cutscenes do look very, very good, especially almost inspired by the forms of the Japanese anime. But despite the terrible voice acting in the forms of the English dub, I don't know if the Japanese version could be better though, but even then I'm also able to see what happens there. But yeah, overall, the game itself is alright, but I mean, surely it's not the best in the series, I will admit though right away, most likely because of how the fact that, well, it's just there for the sake of being. Mega Man 8 is about the same levels as far as the actual the exact same opinions as far as Mega Man 5 for me. Although, again, the actual presentation is still top-notch, especially noticeable for visuals at the time. It almost feels almost exactly like a 32-bit version of Mega Man, to be honest, because of the actual renders of some of these objects and stuff like that can be fully rendered in 32-bit or something almost. But I don't know about that for surely, because even then though, that I haven't really researched upon anything about it. So yeah, apart from that though, this game is alright, but compared to other games in this series, out of all the games I actually did play through Mega Man series as of now, this one will actually be one of my least favorite ones. Most likely because of the actual lack of rush items, because there was no rush jet or rush coil, or hell, there's no super adapter, unlike in Mega Man 7. But even then though, I think to me, Mega Man 7 was definitely a better game for me, because, well, the game as a whole still looks rather easy, certainly a lot more easier than any other Mega Man games at this point in time. Well, in a couple of occasions, because I always attempt to dread it by the forms of the actual jetboard segments, because, oh my god, no matter how many times I swear I just hit a jump button on the forms of, oh I pressed the jump button, but then the game tells me that it's just not responsive enough. Which, I don't know how that is. But anyways though, yeah, so we've done 8 games in a row with the forms of the actual Mega Man series as of now. Well, to be more accurately, the classic Mega Man industries. So even then though, that pretty much does it for Mega Man 8. So, yeah, I think I should probably just go ahead and rent the game. Unless if you ever try to buy this game on the UK version, good luck with that, because this game is ridiculously overpriced in the UK countries. I don't know if the USA version can able to actually do with a cheaper price these days, but I could sure just good luck with trying to able to get the rental copy of the game in the UK version. Just, you know, just try to save up. So, hope you guys do enjoy Mega Man 8. So, this is me, Blossom, here, from the likes of the Maxi Toys. And, yeah, there's not much I can really say about this game. So, even then, though, it's an alright game, but even then, I could have done for a little bit more better. But even then, though, I hope you guys do enjoy this Let's Play. So, join us next time of the forms of the Mega Man Marathon we're going to be doing next time. We're doing it with Mega Man and Bass for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom in Japan / Game Boy Advance. So, see you guys then. Bye.